Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain a special two-part system that can reverse insulin resistance and actually cause your body to start burning fat, and it's super, super simple. So let's just dive right in. So first of all, I'm going to go over a couple different types or causes of insulin resistance, why that would be causing you to store fat or preventing you from burning fat, especially if you're a woman in menopause. And then I'm going to explain this simple two-part system, a couple little things you can use and take that'll reverse it rather quickly, so that you will actually use the food that you eat for different reasons or different things in your body and not store it as fat. And you'll be able to burn your stored body fat much easier. All right, so let's go over the causes or types of insulin resistance first. So number one is when your muscles are not taking in the insulin. So what happens is if your blood sugar goes up, your body is supposed to detect this, and then when your body releases insulin to help lower that blood sugar, the insulin is supposed to match up or lock up with the muscle so it can put glucose, proteins, etc. into those muscle cells. Well, sometimes those receptors get blocked or clogged. Now, the number one reason for this is if you're eating too many fats. And a lot of people this is happening to because they're doing really high-fat diets. So now their muscles can't really take in that insulin, and it causes a form of insulin resistance. Now, even if you're doing a low-carb diet, a lot of times the liver will still convert protein into glucose and let it go into the blood. And so a lot of times when people are doing something like the keto diet, they'll have some blood sugar issues because when the liver releases that glucose into the blood, the muscles can't pull in the insulin or glucose that's been released, and so they end up going to the fat cells. Number two has to do with the liver. And this is where the liver is actually dumping too much glucose into the blood or too often, and this will cause your blood sugar to run high and therefore your insulin to run high. And then over time, this can cause a form of insulin resistance because the insulin just kind of keeps kicking out. Over time, the body will become resistant to that, so it'll take more and more insulin to bring down that blood sugar. Okay, now this is similar to number three, is if you're causing too many blood sugar spikes. Now that could happen through the liver. There's an issue with the liver where it's releasing too much glucose into the blood. It could happen if you're not combining the right foods at each meal. It could happen if you're eating the wrong food at the wrong time of day. It can happen if you eat too much fat at once, or obviously too much sugar at once. Alcohol can cause these things, stress, lack of sleep, inflammation. We're going to talk about those. But if you're causing too many spikes too often, again, the body now is kicking out insulin so often, it develops a tolerance to it and a resistance to it. That's where the term insulin resistance comes from. Okay, now number four is if your body fat is too high. The higher your body fat, that excess body fat kind of blocks or blunts the body's response to insulin to lower your blood sugar. So what happens is the body has to release a lot more to get the desired outcome. Well, unfortunately, at that point, the body ends up releasing too much. It's like it kind of overcompensates. So you get this blood sugar dip, and all that extra insulin causes the glucose, fatty acids, things like that to go into your fat cells, which makes it almost impossible to lose weight. This is why a lot of people, if you're insulin resistant, you may not realize it, and you've tried all these different diets and they don't work for you, because most diets are not designed for people who have insulin resistance. If you have insulin resistance, you can still lose weight and you can reverse insulin resistance. Obviously, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But doing normal programs out there doesn't normally work because having insulin resistance does change the rules of the game. So you have to be aware of that. Now, stress and inflammation, number five. This is a big one. A lot of people, and especially women over 50, don't realize how much stress is impacting you and how much it actually causes your blood sugar to spike. So if you're dealing with inflammation, it could be from an autoimmune, could be you're eating foods that are causing an inflammatory response, it could be that you're just really stressed, your lack of sleep, things like this. This will cause your blood sugar to run high, and it'll also cause your blood sugar to be more sensitive. So when you eat some food, your blood sugar might spike. So this is now causing a lot more insulin to be released a lot more often, which will lead to insulin resistance as well, or very high blood sugar, which is very bad for storing fat. If your blood sugar is running really high, it makes it very difficult for your body to burn fat. Now, again, a lot of people will say, well, that's why you shouldn't eat carbs and you should do a low-carb diet. That does not, it seems like that would be logical, but that's not correct because the low-carb diets have so many side effects. They're very stressful on the body. They can lower your thyroid, which will lower your metabolism. They're not realistic for most people. They may cause low energy, cravings, poor sleep, starving, hunger, cravings, things. And then if you add carbs back in, you gain the weight back. So they're not sustainable for a lot of people. Okay, and last is if you have something like PCOS, the polycystic ovarian syndrome, so you have cysts on your ovaries, okay, or some other autoimmune, which is now causing a type of insulin resistance. I guess there'd be another one there called gestational diabetes, like if you're pregnant or post-pregnancy, postpartum, you can become diabetic temporarily and deal with insulin resistance. Okay, now, the two-part system that I'm about to explain will address if your muscles are not uptaking the glucose. It'll also address the PCOS and autoimmune, and to some degree may address the stress. Now, if you have really high levels of body fat or your liver is dumping out too much glucose, those are a separate issue which I'm going to talk about in a future video, and you need a different system for those things. I'm going to address if it's the muscles or you have PCOS or another autoimmune that's causing the insulin resistance. Okay, so you want to do a two-part system, and I'm going to be very specific. I'm also going to link what I talk about in the description because they're very specific products or very specific supplements. Now, normally I'm not a supplement guy, but in some cases like this, temporarily, you may need to use these to reverse some of these symptoms so that your body can then get back into a normal, healthy level or realm or state. So the first piece is something called berberine. Now, this is a pretty popular, well-known supplement, but you need to take the right type. Now, I've taken different types of berberine over the years myself. I've tried many different types with clients, and I found one to be the most effective. The problem with berberine a lot of times is if you take the capsules, it'll cause diarrhea, upset stomach, and other GI issues. Sometimes it can kill good bacteria in your gut, cause a little problem with your microbiome. And so you want to use the liquid form. There's a liquid form. Now, the type of liquid form you should use is called liposomal berberine. And I'm going to link to a very specific one. You can get it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. This is the specific one I've used, and I've used with clients that I know works and is the most effective. Okay? Are there other ones that might work? Probably, but this is the one I'm absolutely certain of that works to reverse this. What it does is it increases something called AMPK, which essentially is it gets the muscles to uptake, to pull out the glucose and insulin from your blood a lot better. Now, this is great for the muscles. Now the muscles get the fuel they need to tone and tighten and build, which will increase your metabolism. And now it regulates your blood sugar, so then it reverses that insulin resistance. So that's part number one, okay? Part number two is a specific supplement called spinach leaf extract. Not spinach powder. Not spinach powder. It has to be a certain strength, and it's got to be the extract. Now, I found one online that meets the criteria. When you use this, not only will it regulate your blood sugar, but it will also help your body increase the GLP-1 hormone that's so popular now because of things like Ozempic and Wegovy and those things, but it doesn't have any side effects. It's spinach, okay? Now, you can do this, you can get the same effect if you eat spinach, but you have to eat like 3 cups, and you have to cook it perfectly to a certain level, but not too much and not too little. It can be kind of difficult, but the extract is very simple and not expensive either, okay? We're going to link to that one because it's the only one I have found online that actually works and meets the criteria. This one you cannot find on Amazon. It's on a separate site. They don't even have it on Amazon. But I'm going to link to it. Spinach leaf extract, and it's got a certain potency to it. So what you want to do is you want to take the berberine 3 times per day. Now, if you look at the berberine, if you take a full serving, which I think is 2 milliliters, it'll have about 1,500 milligrams of berberine. Now, that's the daily dose. You want to break that into 3 separate doses. You want to have one with breakfast, one with lunch, and one with dinner. So you're getting 500 milligrams at each of the 3 times per day. Now, with the spinach leaf extract, you need 3 grams. That's 3,000 milligrams, okay? 3 grams, and you want to have that in the morning. So that'll help with slowing the digestion slightly, which will regulate the intake and release of the food you're eating. Now, I need to stress something. This is vital. If you're not eating properly, if you're not eating the right food at the right time in the right combination, and I'm going to splash a video up all about how to do that correctly right here. If you're not eating correctly, this is going to be a waste of time. You have to do this in conjunction with eating correctly. Otherwise, it's not going to work, because if you're still eating poorly and you're causing all these blood sugar spikes all day and your body fat's super high. Again, I'm talking specifically about if your muscles aren't uptaking or you have a PCOS or autoimmune. This will work wonders. Now, you can reverse insulin resistance if you're causing these blood sugar spikes or you have the high body fat. And the berberine and spinach leaf extract will help tremendously. But you need to be eating correctly. You need to be eating the right food at the right time in the right combination to create the proper environment and chemical reactions and enzymes and hormones in the body so that the berberine and the spinach leaf extract will work. Okay, so I'm just going to recap. You want 500 milligrams of berberine at breakfast, 500 milligrams at lunch, 500 milligrams at dinner. The liposomal liquid berberine, and we're linking to a specific brand you can get on Amazon. You want 3 grams or 3,000 milligrams of the spinach leaf extract at the specific potency we're recommending in the morning with breakfast or before breakfast. And you need to do these things for about 30 days. The berberine should kick in about a week. It takes full effect in 3 months. That's why you want to do it for at least 30 days, but you can do it for 3 months. And the spinach leaf extract will start working like day 1 or day 2. These two things together will significantly lower your blood sugar, reverse the insulin resistance, cause your muscles to uptake that glucose much more easily. You'll lose body fat and be able to gain muscle in the process. Now we're going to splash up a couple videos. These are supplemental videos about food. You want to watch these so you kind of understand what I'm talking about when I talk about eating the right food at the right time in the right combination. I'll see you over there, but I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you on the next video, okay? Take care.